New year, new me. I'm just messing with you, man. New year, the same me. Intro.
You should come rolling my
Yo, what up? My name is Vladimir Riché from ChaseandRider.com. A few months ago, I did a video on the most important shoe that every man should own, which is the Black Capital Oxford. In that video, I had mentioned that I wanted to make a series out of it to where I can tell you different Black Capital Oxford that you can get depending on your budget. Well, this is the first video in that series. This one is the top 10 Black Capital Oxfords under $500. But before we get to it, man, why am I wearing a hat inside? I thought it was a good idea at first, but I'm starting to get really hot, so let's lose the hat, you know what I mean? Now, before I start with the countdown, there are a couple things that I wanted to clarify. Although I'm a shoe enthusiast, I don't know every shoe brand that exists, you know? So a lot of time in the comments, you guys are teaching me just like I'm teaching you. So some of the brands that you guys mentioned, I never heard of, and I would end up looking them up, and some of them are actually pretty decent brands. So thank you for putting me onto some brands that I don't know. And number two, more importantly, there are a lot of brands that some guys ask me in the comments, like, how come I don't mention those brands? I recently got a comment where a guy said, how come you're not talking about the big guns? And he mentioned like 3 brands, and I'm saying to myself, the big guns, are you serious? So yeah, a lot of these brands, it's not that I don't know about them, it's more like I don't like those type of brands. I don't feel like their shoes are nice. I don't feel like their shoes is worth the price. That happened to Rhymes, you know? Yeah, but it's just that I don't like those brands, man. So instead of talking bad about them, I'd rather not mention them at all. So hopefully, me bringing up the brands that I talk about, you can kind of read between the lines to see the ones that I don't like. One thing about this countdown, every brand that I'm going to talk about is either Goodyear welted or hand welted. Actually, they're pretty much all Goodyear welted except for one. More on that later. Let's get to number 10. Number 10 is the 8627 from Carlos Santos. Carlos Santos is a brand out of Portugal. The shoes are also made in Portugal, and the shoes retail for $350. You can get them from a fine pair of shoes out of the UK. That's one of the stockists that carries Carlos Santos. I'll include all the links in the description as well so you guys can check them out. The 8627 is made on the 401 last. The 401 last is an almond shaped last. Personally, I feel like the 401 last is a little bit too long. Now, it might be the way that it looks in the pictures because I've never actually seen the 401 last in person. But it's still a really nice pair of shoes. And at $350, that's a pretty good buy. The 8627 also has an open channel sole. Open channel sole shoes typically, not always, cost a little bit less than a shoe that has a closed channel sole. Number 9 is the Magnolia from J. Fitzpatrick Footwear. J. Fitzpatrick is an American brand, but the shoes are made out in Spain and retail for $395. The shoes are made on the TMG last, which is a round last. The reason why it's not higher on the countdown, I feel like the Magnolia is not as plain as most Black Capital Oxfords are. Like, for example, there are some triple stitching going on across the vamp and on the side. So I feel like it has more design work on it compared to a typical Black Capital Oxford. The plainer the shoe, the dressier the shoe. So I feel like when we're talking about Black Capital Oxford, which is a dressy shoe, that kind of knocks it down a little bit, but it is a pretty nice shoe. I definitely do recommend them. So do check out the Magnolia from J. Fitzpatrick Footwear. Number 8 is the Gilbert from Love and Tung. At $313, these shoes are an absolute steal. I believe they're the lowest price one on the countdown. They're made on the S last, which is their round last, and all Love and Tung shoes are made in Spain. One thing that I really like also about the Gilbert, it has the gooseneck design. I know a lot of guys do like that on their Black Capital Oxfords, and at $313, those shoes are pretty hard to beat. At number 7 is the Riche from COBBLER-UNION. COBBLER-UNION are also made in Spain. At $395, they come with a fiddleback waist, which is really awesome. Actually, when COBBLER-UNION first came out, One of the features that they used to always talk about was the fiddle back waist, but recently they started going away from making their shoes with a fiddle back waist. But the RICHE is one of the shoes that still actually has that. But one thing that COBBLER-UNION still have in all their shoes is the quilted heel cup, which looks like the seats of a luxury sports car. So that's definitely a nice feature. The RICHE is made on the city last, which is a round last. They're one of the few shoes on the countdown where you can actually walk into a store in the US and try them on, albeit the store is only in Atlanta, but we do have one in the US. Number 6 is a brand that I've never spoken about on the countdown before. It's a brand called AMBLIER. They're the house brand from the Sabbath. The Sabbath is an online shoe brand out of Sweden. That's actually where my wife got me those Joe Work shoes. So I talked about the Sabbath before. I did an unboxing of the Joe Work shoes that I got from them. If you've never seen it, I'll link it somewhere up here and also include it in the description. But AMBLIER is the brand from the Sabbath. Those guys been around shoes for a long time and the shoes look really, really nice. The Black Cap to Oxford is called Ashton and they're retail for $390. And one thing that the Ashton offers, they come with lasted shoe trees. So at $390, not only are you getting a really nice pair of Black Cap to Oxford, you're also getting lasted shoe trees to go along with that. The shoes are made on the BG01 last, which is a round last. And if I didn't mention it before, AMBLIER are also made in Spain. Now let's get into the top 5 of the 10 Black Cap to Oxford that I recommend under $500. Number 5 is the Carmina 732. Carmina shoes are made out in Spain. They used to be $450. The prices went up a little bit and now they cost $475. Even at $475, Carmina is still one of the best shoes that you can get currently under $500. The Forest Last is a round last with a high end step. I highly recommend Carmina, as you guys already know if you've been paying attention to this channel. I don't know if you are paying attention, but number 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 on this countdown were all made in Spain. Spain has a great history of excellent shoemaking, so it's no coincidence that half the shoes on this countdown were made in Spain. Number 4 is the first shoes on this countdown that are made in England. The shoes are called the Hanover, and they're from Look 1880 export grade line. All the export grade shoes retail for $410. The export grade line is the highest line that you can get from Look, and Look's been making shoes since 1880, so they've been around for years. The Hanover is a really, really beautiful shoe. It's made on the Tower Last, which is an almond shaped last, and when you look at the shoes, it's kind of hard to wrap my head around how they can only be $410, because those shoes just look like something that should be costing you like $600 to $700. One way that Look is able to keep the cost so low on the export grade, the export grade shoes all come with open channel sole, and open channel sole doesn't mean that the construction is not as good. It's just that aesthetically a closed channel sole looks better because the stitches are hidden. But I highly recommend the Hanover. Unfortunately, I'm in the US and Look currently does not ship to the US, so I haven't been able to get my hands on them yet. But from what I can see and from everything I heard, the export grade, namely the Hanover, is one of the best looking ones on the countdown. Now let's get to the top 3. Number 3 is the Petter from the Armory. They're one of the most expensive shoes on the countdown. The Petter retails for $495, so pretty close to that $500 price point. The Armory is a company out of Hong Kong. The shoes are actually made in England. The last is a soft square last called the Hajime, and the last was made in collaboration with Yohei Fukuda. Yohei Fukuda is one of the top bespoke shoemakers in the world out of Japan. One thing about those shoes, they're actually made out of one piece of leather, so that's supposed to make them more comfortable, and it also minimizes the creasing. So that's one thing that these shoes offer that no other shoe on the countdown does. Number 2 is the 112 from TLB Mallorca and the Artista line. TLB Mallorca, as the name indicates, is a brand out of Spain. They retail for $395. The 112 is made on the Goya last, which is a round last. And at $395, they're one of the best bang for your buck that you can get in the entire shoe industry. And the reason why they're number 2 is because it's very hard to understand how they can make such beautiful shoes under $400. As it stands right now, I haven't had the pleasure of seeing them in person yet. Some people that I trust tell me that to them, the Artista line is actually even better than Carmina, and it retails at almost $100 less than Carmina. I can't confirm that myself because once again, I haven't held those shoes in my hand yet. If your budget is $400, those would be the shoes that I would recommend the most on this entire countdown. Now, last and definitely not least, the number one shoe on the countdown is the 5052 from VASS Budapest. Now, if you guys are not familiar with VASS, VASS is a company out of Hungary. The 5052 is my personal pair of Black Cap to Oxford. I've done an unboxing on them before. If you haven't seen it, I'll link it somewhere up here, and I'll also include it in the description. Back when I spoke about the shoes, they were over $500, but somehow prices actually dropped to $495. So along with the shoes from the Armoury, the VASS shoes are the most expensive shoes on the countdown, but you're definitely getting a steal, because even when VASS shoes was selling at like $550, those shoes were an incredible value for the price. First is because of the last, the F-last. To me, the F-last is undefeated in the shoe industry when it comes to a round toe shoe. It's one of the best lasts that you can get. The proportion of the last is unlike anything that I've seen before on a round last. But the feature that really takes VASS to a next level is that VASS shoes are actually handmade. So every single shoe that I've mentioned on the countdown so far has been Goodyear welted. When you're talking about handmade shoes under $500, doesn't even make any sense, man. You know what I mean? Like, once again, when I got my shoes, I think I got them for about around $525, $550, and that was a steal at that price. Like, there are certain companies that sell VASS shoes for around $700. The same VASS shoes that you can get directly from VASS at $495. You know what I'm saying? So I highly recommend these shoes. Once again, I've included a link to all the shoes that I spoke about in the description of this video. And a Black Cap to Oxford is a shoe that belongs in every well-dressed man's wardrobe, so you really cannot go wrong with a Black Cap to Oxford. So that was the first video on the series, and the next one I'm going to make is the top 10 Black Cap to Oxfords above $500. So let me know in the comments which Black Cap to Oxford do you like, or which one that you're looking to get, especially after watching this video. So that was my top 10 Black Cap to Oxfords under $500. Hit the thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe, or everybody gonna think that you're a hater. And I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.